and I don't appreciate people just trying to throw themselves on me. But I have actually been stalked before. So, any of you who are on my Facebook, when I put up that post talking about, for people who want to come at me, my block game is strong. If you paid attention to the messages underneath, there was a young woman who jumped into the messages and was asking me what was going on. And she seemed real serious about it. That's family. That's my actual family. That is my birth family on my mama's side. The stalking situation had gotten to the point where there is a small group of my family that anytime anything even looks remotely off with me, they are ready to ride. This is not a game, people. Like, I actually had somebody hiding in my bushes. And not just one person. I've had this happen to me twice. I legit had somebody hiding in my bushes. Now, sidebar, the funny part about it was he was hiding in the bushes and I was looking right at him at one point, and it was somebody that I knew, and I'm talking to him on the phone. I asked him where he was at, and he told me that he was at home, which was in California, and I'm looking at him talking to me on the phone. If you're going to be a stalker, don't be a stalker and stupid. Because he wasn't even ducking in the bushes. He was like up above the bushes where I'm looking right at his head. Then when he looks over and realizes I can see him, he takes off running. And I'm like, you were outside my window. No, I wasn't. You can't look me in the face and run down my driveway and tell me it wasn't you. I have woke up to my grass being cut, or my fence being fixed, or my driveway being swept from somebody who had been watching me for I don't know how long. Now, on one hand, you're very helpful, sir. But on the other hand, at some point, you're going to want to do something more than just like clean up my yard. Stop trying to force yourself on people, because it made me, to see that people are willing to go that far to be close to me, made me very leery of being around anybody. And when people jump into my inbox just instantly, that's the first place my mind goes to is, you're a creepy stalker who's going to try to steal my information and do something to me. Every single time. I don't care if you're male or female. It is literally the first thing that crosses my mind. And I have to go and look and see what your messages are about. Now, because I've had a couple of women that have jumped into my inbox, and it was just, you know what, I'm just trying to see how you're holding up and what's going on with you. And they feel like they're being genuine with it. So I have to kind of pull back and not get freaked out and start blocking just everybody. But just so you understand why I'm so passionate about this, yeah, I've had a couple of very bad things happen to me where now anytime somebody is in my inbox like that, it's the very first thing that hits my brain is, you are out to get me. Because that's a position I've been put in before. The best way for anyone to handle that is stop jumping so quickly into people's inboxes. And that whole telling, oh, you're so sweet and you're so beautiful and you're so beautiful and I wish you were mine. Stop it. Because that really comes across creepy. Like, it just... And there are some people who are doing it for, the creep factor, because they really are trying to get something else. Like, they really are trying to scam you. But there are some people who, it's not because they're trying to scam. This is just really their approach. Social media sites have almost become, like Instagram and Facebook have lightweight become dating sites. And they just think it's okay. And it's really not okay. And for the people who are receiving the messages, brothers and sisters, be careful. Be careful who you're talking to. Be careful who you connect with. Be careful who you ignore. Because everybody ain't wrapped too tight. And folks start to take things like that personal because they start to feel that you're personally rejecting them, not thinking about the fact that you're an absolute stranger to me who was in my inbox talking slick. This has nothing to do with who you are as a person. I don't know you. I just don't like people talking to me like that. You know, there are some loose cannons out here, and you want to always be safe. Now, on that note, I have taken up enough of your time on this Sunday, and I hope the rest of your day is filled with nothing but beauty and prosperity and great things. And I know all of us are still stuck in our homes and quarantined. And let me tell you something, folks. If we can manage to stay in our own spaces for 30 days, then we can go back to living our lives. You know, there are some people who don't believe that the virus is real. There are some people who don't believe that the virus is actually killing people. I got family and friends on the front lines daily. If I hadn't have switched careers and left the city I was in, I'd have been in a hospital right now praying that everything was okay and not wanting to go home to my children to potentially give them something. And I've had a couple moments where I've been around patients that I really thought, okay, I'm going to end up giving something to one of my kids. But I've got people out there on the front lines who are like, no, this is real and I've never seen anything like it before. And lastly, for everybody who was comparing this to the flu, because, you know, the flu killed 100 and something thousand, 400,000 people in 2 months. People, let's think in numbers here. The flu was also contracted by over 4 million people, which is why it killed so many people. The flu has a rate of like 1%, 2% when it comes to deaths, because tons of people had it. And then this group of people died from it. And the best way I can explain this to people is, if 20 folks all catch the flu and 10 of those people die, 50% of those people are dead, and it looks like a huge number, and we are concerned. But if only 10 people catch the coronavirus, and then of those 10 people, only 7 people die. Well, only 7 people died of this, but 10 people died of this. So this has to be worse. No, because although 10 people is definitely more than 7, this was 7 people out of 10. This was 10 people out of 20. There is a difference. That means that when it was over and done with, it was still 10 people alive with the flu. There was only 3 people still alive with the virus. There's a huge difference. 4+ million people had the flu. So 400,000 people deceased is a drop in the bucket. In comparison to the numbers we're seeing, I believe as of yesterday, we went over 18,000 deaths with the coronavirus. And trust me, there's not even 1 million people yet that have it. In comparison, the numbers are astronomical. And even if you believe it was created in a lab, even if you believe that the government is spreading it all over the world, and for the person who made the comment about only the U.S. government is forcing people to stay in, not true. I actually have a couple of relatives who live overseas. They're all being forced to stay in their homes. So it's not just us. But even if you think it's a conspiracy, whatever your thoughts are on it, stay safe anyway. Because there are people who are talking about going out and having gatherings because the government's not going to tell them what to do. And the first time somebody in that gathering gets sick, or several of you get sick, the first thing you're going to want to do is run to a hospital to use up equipment and resources for people who already have it when you could have simply stayed at home. So no matter how you feel about the disease, if you think that it's being over exaggerated, you think that it's fake news, whatever it is that you feel about it, feel however you want to feel in your house. When you go out, because it's not go in your house, lock down the doors, hunker down, and kiss your ass goodbye. Like, all they're saying is keep your distance as much as you possibly can. When you are out, don't rush up and just be all up in people's faces. Back. Give them some space. When you are coughing, cover your mouth. If you have hand sanitizer, because from hand sanitizer to rubbing alcohol and aloe vera gel, nobody has anything anymore. But if you have it, use it when you're out. If not, take yourself somewhere and wash your hands. There's plenty of soap. Wash your hands. And stop with all the touching of your faces and your noses and things when you're out and about. Wear a mask across your face. And yeah, there are certain masks that don't protect from it. That is true enough. But as long as you have even the slightest of a barrier in front of you, it lessens the chances. Now, with the proper mask, you can go out and you can avoid the virus. With a paper mask, it's probably only 25%. But that 25% may save your behind. So just be mindful, because the same people who are out and about in the street and want to be all up on folks and, don't want to protect themselves will be the same people who will take it home and give it to somebody elderly or give it to their children. And the reason I'm so passionate about that is because I actually know someone whose baby is fighting for their lives because they caught it. This child is just over a year old, and their little body is struggling to breathe. And the reason why it was even passed on was because everybody got a little stir crazy and decided, you know what, the government is trying to control us, and they were out and about and just living their lives. Kids didn't have masks on, parents didn't have it. Everybody's just out and about, just doing their thing the way they normally would. And I can completely understand that to a point, because I'm a homebody, like for real, more than people realize. So, being quarantined doesn't affect me to a point at all. But, they needed to get out. They needed to go and continue to live their lives. Any place that was open that they could go to, they went, they go out, they go for walks. Like, they just went and they were just living their lives. And the mother actually says that she can pinpoint the moment when she came in contact with it. She knows exactly when it was. Now, regret is sinking in, because she can't turn that back and change that. That baby is fighting. There's nothing she can do now. And there is a time frame before symptoms even show. So for all we know, other members of that family are going to end up being sick. They're not letting you come in and visit your family when they have this condition. They have to be in the hospitals by themselves. They're not letting you come in and have funerals in a lot of places. They're not even allowing funerals. You are cremated and gotten rid of as quickly as possible. Now, where they're storing all these bodies, I have no clue, because New York has a ton of them. But they're not allowing you to come in and visit these people towards the end. Now, some areas are actually allowing funerals, I've heard. Because I heard a young lady say that there was a funeral for her father's friend who had it. But most areas are not even allowing you to have funerals. They are holding these bodies and they're not releasing them because they don't know what's going to happen if you put them, is the virus gone now that they're deceased? Is it like there's just too many variables. There's just too many things that they don't know. Now, I am the first person to tell you, don't ever live in fear. I do not believe in it. You do not wake up and plant